On air, some Fox hosts are implying that this whole Ukraine thing, this whole impeachment thing, there's nothing there, it's gonna go away very soon. Others are taking it very seriously. Behind the scenes, bedlam, apparently, according to a new Vanity Fair article from Gabriel Sherman. This quote certainly stands out. It's management bedlam. This massive thing happened and no one knows how to cover it, which is perhaps why so many different shows are covering it in such different ways and in fact feuding with each other, as we're gonna get to in a little bit. Apparently this morning, Sean Hannity told friends that the whistleblower's allegations are, quote, really bad. A person briefed on Hannity's conversations told the author. Hannity did not respond to a request for comment, but why would he? So obviously on his show, he has been gung-ho 100%. There is nothing here. Our focus should instead be on a variety of several-year-old right-wing conspiracy theories. Behind the scenes, he's telling his friends, no, this is actually pretty serious.
Yeah, so let's be clear, they don't really, they don't have any defense. So I'm gonna explain it for the 17th time because apparently Fox News hosts don't understand it. Although to be fair, that is not really, they're now beginning to be significantly split. So last night we talked to you about the Fox News civil war, Tucker Carlson and Shep Smith at each other's throats. So we got more news on that in a second. Chris Wallace continues it with today. Chris Wallace with not only damning quotes about Trump, but also going after his fellow Fox News hosts again. So this war will not abate at Fox News because some of them have broken ranks and going, no, it's illegal. There's nothing. It's just a lie to say it's not illegal. So let me explain why it's illegal for the 100th time for people who haven't heard it before or have listened to conservative news and have never gotten facts. They keep saying as a defense, like Ainsley Earhardt did, well, there's no quid pro quo. First of all, that's not true. There already is quid pro quo in that call, plus let alone whatever they're hiding in the secret database, but you don't need quid pro quo at all. So it's so easy to show you guys. So if Bernie Sanders were to go to a foreign government, like let's say North Korea, right? And he says, hey, when you're talking to Donald Trump, Kim Jong-un, can you do a quick favor for me? Just, and just like Trump said, a favor, right? Just do me a favor, put a bug on him and then tell me everything that he's saying because I want to use it as dirt in my political campaign. But Sanders does not promise Kim Jong-un anything in return. Would that be illegal? The answer is yes, it would definitely be illegal. And so when Trump asks for a favor from a foreign government to help his political campaign, that's already illegal. It does not need to be followed up by, and then I promise you I'll give you a dozen roses, box of chocolates, or $400 million of military aid. It's already illegal, 100% illegal, indisputably illegal. And I've actually haven't heard what the Republican defense of that is, other than squirrel. Right? So they're like, oh, no quid pro quo. Oh yeah, but Hunter Biden did something. But there's no actual defense because it is indefensible. It is the most obviously illegal thing that we have seen. In fact, guys, I'm gonna go right now because this just happened a little bit before we went live. Chris Wallace's quotes.
I've got one.
You have them? Okay, so go ahead, John.
We're gonna jump to the last graphic in this. Is one thing Chris Wallace said. The spinning that has been done by the president's defenders over the last 24 hours since this very damaging whistleblower complaint came out, the spinning is astonishing and I think deeply misleading. He is being just vague enough there that the people who he's definitely talking about at Fox News can't say that he attacked them, and we'll get into why he's worried about being very specific there in a little bit. But he's clearly talking about hosts on Fox News that are using White House approved talking points to defend him and to distract from the issue.
So I've got even more on Chris Wallace in a minute as we give you more details, but I wanna go to a little exchange that he had with Sandra Smith, who was the host that he was talking to on Fox News at the time. Sandra Smith interrupts him at one point to say, well, hey, there's no quid pro quo, because that's their main deflection point here. And Wallace says, you asked a question, let me answer it, Sandra. He says, you don't think that dirt on the vice president and his son's activities would be of value to a president seeking re-election? Now, the reason he frames it that way is because in the law, soliciting a campaign contribution, whether it's cash or an in-kind donation of anything of value from a foreign government is illegal. So that's why Wallace is saying, you don't think dirt on your political opponent is anything of value? I mean, it's preposterous to say that it doesn't have value. Of course it does. In fact, it's going to cost Ukraine a lot of money to go through, if they were to go through an investigation, go through a prosecution, get that information to Donald Trump. It is inarguable that it is of value. It is inarguable Donald Trump solicited. It is inarguable that Ukraine is a foreign government. So that is why Chris Wallace, still a journalist, a very conservative one, but a journalist on Fox News going, I read the law, I'm a sentient human being. It's obviously illegal is his implication here.
Well, they're propagandists at Fox, so I don't expect them to let go of this, but Cenk's making an important point, which is slowly they are letting go of it. Even guys who have been leading the propaganda parade are beginning to let go of this. And that, in some sense, you look to Fox News as sort of a bellwether for the Trump presidency. And as they begin to let go, you think, politically, he may be taking on some water. And if he takes on enough water, more people will turn on him. And I'm talking about Republican legislators will turn on him as well.
Yeah.
20 delirious tweets in 14 hours. You can tell how much trouble Trump is in by the ferocity and velocity of his tweets. So the more trouble he's in, and this has happened a couple of times before when things got really bad. And before the Democrats let him off the hook each time, right? But as things get bad and Trump realizes, he's like, witch hunt, hoax, witch hunt, Fox News, help me, right? And so that's exactly what's happening here. It's funny that you used that analogy, Mark, yesterday. I started the show by saying the ship's head is in the water and it's starting to rise. And as Anna pointed out, at some point, it's gonna break off before it all goes in the water.
Yeah, and so you pointed out the nature of what it would take for it to be a crime. One of the other evasions, they have a variety of different evasions, is just a concern about corruption, because Donald Trump genuinely cares about corruption in Ukraine. He only brings up 2 instances of it in his view. One is the Democratic nominee in 2016 that he ran against. The other at the time was the front runner in this presidential election. Like, come on, he's not even trying to hide it. He's not smart enough to pretend. Look up a name of a Ukrainian who was corrupt and name that person too. Pretend that it has anything to do other than your own personal political interests. But anyway, on the Fox stuff, there are apparently plans in place in case this does turn against him, as Sean Hannity implied that it could potentially. According to 4 sources, the CEO of Fox Corp, Lachlan Murdoch, is already thinking about how to position the network for a post-Trump future. A person close to Lachlan told me that Fox News has been the highest rated cable network for 17 years, and the success has never depended on any one administration. And what's really interesting about this, and also sad, and I love that this is in the story, it totally wouldn't have expected this person to pop up once again. Among the powerful voices advising Lachlan that Fox should decisively break with the president is former House Speaker Paul Ryan, who joined the Fox board in March. Quote, Paul is embarrassed about Trump and now he has the power to do something about it.
Yeah.
Unlike when he was actually in office.
Unlike when he was
the saddest thing ever.
No, but that really is very telling of our current political environment. That the Speaker of the House for the Republican Party thought there was nothing he could do about the Republican president. Even though the Speaker of the House is arguably the second most powerful political office in the country. But if you're on the board of Fox News, well, then you might be able to do something about the president, right? But guys, it's by the way, yes, the pictures are very funny next to me.
I did that as a Halloween costume once.
That's from his 70s sitcom. Is that what those pictures
are? But this goes to 2 things that I've been telling you from day one. Why was I positive Donald Trump wouldn't make it to the end of his presidency? One is too stupid to cover things up, right? And what did John tell you earlier? Jesus Christ, dude, 1 minute of homework. Say to a staffer, name me 1 corrupt guy in Ukraine so I could make it seem like I actually care about corruption, right? You know what, give me an instance of corruption anywhere else in the world I can talk about so I could say like, oh my God, you know what's happening in Malaysia? And then Patreshikov in Ukraine. I mean, I'm really worried about it. But hey, turns out we've got our own problems. I mean, look at Biden, right? Yeah. But instead he's like, hey, I want stuff on Biden and his son and the CrowdStrike thing that Hillary did. That's why I care about corruption in Ukraine. Yeah. God, you're so stupid. You're the dumbest man alive. The reporters keep trying to figure out like, what's his strategy? There's no strategy. Come on, man. There's no strategy.
Cenk,
look at the guy.
You fool, you've walked right into his trap.
Yeah. No, by the way, Tucker Carlson said it, my favorite line today. I'm glad you reminded me of that. He wrote an op-ed on his own website and he said, the Democrats might really be destroying themselves by trying to impeach Trump. oh, Tucker, are you concerned about the Democrats?
Yeah.
That's my favorite thing in the world, the fall concern. Like, oh, poor Democrats. I mean, look, I don't mind you impeaching Trump, but I just feel really bad that you guys are destroying yourselves.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to look out for you guys.
I always turn to Tucker Carlson and Meghan McCain for progressive political strategy because they're always so concerned about us.
Yeah.
By the way, me joking that this is some sort of trap that we've walked into is not to say that it won't blow up in the Democrats' faces. But if it does, it will not be because of the political machinations of Donald Trump. It'll be the incompetence of Democratic leadership.
Oh, it could be.
As it always is.
That's so true. It could very easily blow up, but you're right. There's nothing premeditated about all of this. Trump just, he can't get out of his own way. But you're right. The Democrats still have work to do, right?
Yeah. And so, and by the way, unlike the liars at Fox News, or by the way, the remaining liars, because some of them it turns out are actually honest but conservative, which there's nothing wrong with. Like I'll say, hey, if you support Donald Trump in the impeachment, like Susan Collins and at least 5 Republican senators will definitely lose their elections. But I don't do it with like fall concern, like, oh, Susan Collins, I'm so worried about you. You might lose your election. No, I want you to lose your election. If you support Donald Trump and you vote with him, I'm going to be ecstatic when you lose. So see, that's the difference between someone who's honest and a liar. Okay, anyway, so the second thing that why Donald Trump wouldn't be able to get away with it is, that I've been telling you about, is he burns too many bridges. Not on the other side, on his own side. So he slapped Paul Ryan around when Paul Ryan was Speaker of the House, because Paul Ryan didn't want Trump to win the primary in the first place. And then when the Access Hollywood tapes came out, Paul Ryan said that they were terrible, etc. And Trump never forgave him for that. And while Bannon was in the White House, he would have Breitbart write one article after another about how Paul Ryan shouldn't be Speaker of the House. He was terrible and incompetent and a loser. I mean, it was clear Trumpian language in the article, right? Paul Ryan saw that and stored that away because he's weak, right? And he's a sad little boy like Lindsey Graham and Mitch McConnell. But now that Trump can't touch him anymore, and he's on the Fox board, he's like, oh, you should get Trump, right? But there's a lot of Republicans like that. Jeff Flake says there are 30. He's a former Republican senator. He just retired, right? He says, I was just in Senate. There's 35 Republicans that would vote against him in impeachment if it was a secret vote. He's incinerated bridges on his own side, and eventually that catches up with you.
Yeah.
And speaking of burnt bridges, Gabe Sherman's absolutely right. Fox News is his last bulwark. And actually Jake Tapper talked about it today. He said Nixon didn't have Fox News and didn't have trolls online. If he did, he might have survived. So Nixon just committed crimes. Everybody admitted they were crimes and he was out. Trump commits crimes. Fox News goes, no, it's not. It's not a crime, it's roses. What, right? Plus squirrel. And then the trolls attack online, and then the media feels like, oh, I guess we got to go 50-50, whether it's crimes or not crimes.
Yeah.
And by the way, the media's done a pretty good job, but they're still having debates over things that are not debatable. And so he's right about that. But now I go back to Chris Wallace. He said, for all the efforts of a lot of people defending the president, to defend this as nothing, this isn't nothing, this is something. And he goes on to say that it is very deeply troubling. So if this continues, and oh my God, if he loses Hannity, it's over, he'll resign.
He won't lose Hannity.
But he won't lose him, lose him publicly. It seems unimaginable.
Yeah. Hannity will wait until the last White House light is off before he lets go of Trump.
Yeah.
Well, in terms of who's going to be lost too, I think it'll be interesting to see if Fox is having some sort of internal debate about should we stick with him and hope that, especially with us, that he can just get through it, or should we position ourselves for when he's gone, sort of preemptively, sort of move away, distance ourselves. It'll be interesting to see who gets fired first, either Paul Ryan from the board or Shep Smith from his show.
Oh, that's, yeah.
Yeah.
And I also want to say, when I say that Hannity won't let go of him, I'm not just being snide there. I think that there are a lot of ways to maintain your loyalty and sort of leave this issue of right and wrong aside. I mean, even Nixon, when he resigned, he just felt, I don't want to burden the nation with this. You look for whatever high ground or ridiculous high ground there might be. I think that that's what Sean Hannity will do all along. He will find some rationale for why he doesn't let go of this man who doesn't come from political life. He comes from a civilian life. He's trying to do things, but he couldn't stand up to the witch hunt.
Yeah. Look, I can't help myself but be honest here. I actually think Fox News should not abandon Donald Trump. So I would love it if they do, and it would help Trump to go under. It would help prove my prediction right, but a billion times more important is it would get this madman out of office and a guy who committed crimes. It would restore rule of law, etc. But if you're asking my honest opinion on where their viewers are, their viewers don't mind criminality at all.
Yeah.
They don't mind immorality at all. But if you betray the mob boss, they will probably mind that.
Yeah.
So look, if you're anyone who is overestimating the morality of the Fox News audience, you've made a terrible mistake. So that's where I think it comes down to. But I think that the Murdochs, the younger generation, Lachlan Murdoch, are embarrassed of Fox News, and it cost them business interests throughout the world. They couldn't do a merger in the UK because they're like, you guys are monsters. I mean, look at the nonsense. Yeah. You say you do news, but look at Fox News, they don't do news at all. And outside of America, where we're not constantly bombarded by propaganda of the right wing, in other places in the world, since they're not exposed to that insanity of the false equivalency of lies and truth, they realize, no, Fox News is nothing but lies. So they can't get things approved in other countries. They're like, you guys are the ones that spread all the lies in America. And so it might not be right for Fox News, but it might be right overall for the Fox Corporation to go against Trump.
This is a key point, and I'm so glad you've made it, because I don't think that in any of these, in the Vanity Fair piece or in any of these accounts of what's going on at Fox News, you can see a conscience necessarily in Lachlan Murdoch. But what Cenk is talking about is very important. They have other business interests internationally that are being affected by this. And so when you start affecting their bottom line, that's different, and that necessitates potential changes.
Yeah, and one last marker for you guys that I think you'll enjoy. If you start to hear conservative pundits, especially on Fox News, but anywhere, and conservative legislators start to talk about how great Mike Pence is, tick, 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 that means there's only 2 weeks left, okay? Maybe less, but that means they're starting to go, well, I mean, Pence is not so bad. Pence not so bad. We could be all right with Pence. In fact, Sean Hannity is probably going through that mentally right now. He might not say it on air yet, but he's thinking, well, I mean, Pence is an evangelical, a fundamentalist Christian, actually arguably more right-wing than Donald Trump. Pence not so bad, Pence not so bad. You start to hear it on air and Trump is gone. That means they've already made the calculations. They've already gotten to the place in their head where they're okay with Pence. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.